On March 14, 1879, a baby boy was born in Ulm, Germany. Nobody knew that this child would one day change our understanding of the universe.
When he was about 5 years old, a simple compass amazed the young boy. Something invisible was moving the needle, and he desperately wanted to understand why.
As he grew older, his curiosity became stronger. Mathematics gave him a language for exploring the questions that ordinary lessons could not answer. In school, he often cared more about understanding why something was true than simply memorizing the answer. His independent curiosity was already growing.
By the age of 10, his curiosity was reaching beyond ordinary school lessons. Mathematics and science were becoming the subjects that truly captured his imagination.
School could only teach him so much. Beyond the classroom, he began exploring mathematical ideas that were far ahead of his age. At 15, he left Munich. He joined his family in Italy. A new chapter was beginning. At 16, he wanted to study at the Zurich Polytechnic. He took the entrance examination. He did not pass every subject, but mathematics and physics were already his strengths. He did not give up. He continued his studies in Aarau. There, he found a freer learning environment. In 1896, he entered the Zurich Polytechnic. At 16, he took the entrance examination for the Zurich Polytechnic. He passed the complete examination. This setback did not end determined to continue his education. At 16, the result arrived. He had performed exceptionally well in mathematics and physics, but he had not passed the complete examination. It was a setback, but he did not give up.
After the failed examination, he continued his studies at Aarau. The school gave him a different learning environment. He studied with greater independence. His goal remained clear: the Zurich Polytechnic.
At Aarau, his education began to change. He was encouraged to think for himself. He questioned ideas instead of simply memorizing them. This freedom suited his curious mind.
His studies at Aarau were coming to an end. He had completed the education he needed. Now he was ready for the next step. Zurich was waiting. In 1896, he entered the Zurich Polytechnic. He was finally where he wanted to be. Mathematics and physics would now become the center of his studies. In 1896, his new life in Zurich began. He immersed himself in mathematics and physics. He wanted to understand the ideas behind it.
By 1897, he was deeply focused on physics. He often studied beyond his classroom lessons. Independent learning was becoming an important part of his life.
In Zurich, he formed friendships with other students. They shared his love of science and exchanged ideas. These friendships became important during his university years. At 19, he was becoming an independent thinker. He questioned ideas that seemed obvious to others. Physics was no longer just a subject to study. It was becoming a world he wanted to understand.
By 1899, his university years were moving forward. He continued studying physics and mathematics with intense focus. His goal was simple: finish his training and build a future in science.
But graduation was the position he hoped for. He searched for work and faced disappointment. His scientific journey was about to take an unexpected turn. In 1902, he finally found steady work. He joined the Swiss Patent Office in Bern. His job was to examine inventions. Outside work, his mind remained focused on physics. After work, his scientific curiosity did not stop. At night, he returned to physics. He read, thought, and worked on ideas of his own. His day job paid the bills, but science remained his passion.
By 1903, his life had become quieter. He worked during the day and studied physics at night. Away from the university, he continued developing his own ideas. He had no idea how important the years ahead would become.
In 1903, his personal life was changing too. He married Mileva Marek. They built a home together in Bern. Even after work, he continued thinking about physics. By 1904, his work at the patent office had become routine. Every day, he examined new inventions. But the job also exposed him to different ways of thinking. In 1904, his family life continued to grow. At home, he shared his attention returned to physics. The biggest ideas of his life were still waiting to emerge. In 1904, his family life continued to grow. At home, he shared ordinary moments with his wife. The biggest ideas of his life were still waiting to emerge. In 1905, his quiet routine was about to change. While working at the patent to enter one of the most remarkable years of his scientific life. In 1905, he began questioning one of the deepest ideas in physics.
What would light look like to an observer moving new way of thinking about space and time?
About light. If two observers moved differently, would they measure the same speed of light? The question challenged old ideas about space and time. He began searching for a new answer. He imagined two observers watching the same beam of light. Their motion could be different, yet light remained constant. This thought experiment, space and time could not be absolute. The key idea was simple but profound. Light in empty space travels at a constant speed. This challenged the old idea that space and time were absolute. Light always travels at the same speed, but observers can move differently. So if the speed of light stays constant, something else must change. He began asking what that change could be. He kept thinking about light. If two observers moved differently, would they measure the same speed of light? The question challenged old ideas about space and time. He began searching for a new answer. Time is not a universal clock shared by everyone. Its measurement depends on the observer's motion. This opened a new way to understand the universe. If measurements of time depend on motion, space must also be understood differently. Distance is not completely separate from the observer's motion. Space and time are connected in a new way. Imagine two flashes of light striking opposite ends of a moving train. One observer may see them happen together. Events seem simultaneous to one observer may not be simultaneous to another.
Physics already had competing ideas about light and motion. Earlier scientists had developed powerful equations, how those ideas were interpreted. The scientific debate was only beginning. After developing his new theory, he prepared his paper for publication. On June 30, 1905, he sent it to Annalen der Physik. His ideas were now leaving his desk and
In September 1905, the paper was published. The new theory was now available to physicists everywhere. Its ideas would soon be examined, debated, and tested. Behind the famous equation was a simple idea. Mass and energy are deeply connected. The equation expressed that connection mathematically. After his extraordinary year of 1905, his scientific reputation began to grow. But he was not finished, and his next great challenge would change our understanding of gravity itself. As he watched the falling apple, a deeper question came to him. Could the laws of motion also explain gravity? He began searching for the connection.
He found another way to imagine the problem. Acceleration could create effects that feel like gravity. This suggested that gravity and acceleration might be deeply connected.
The physical idea was only the beginning. He needed mathematics powerful enough to describe gravity. He began searching for the tools that could turn his idea into a theory. In November 1919, the eclipse results were announced. The new theory gained worldwide attention. Newspapers spread the story, and the quiet physicist suddenly became famous. By 1920, fame had changed his life. He traveled widely, gave lectures, and became known around the world. But behind the public attention, his work and family life continued. In 1922, his growing scientific reputation brought another major honor. He received the Nobel Prize in Physics for his work explaining the photoelectric effect. By 1923, fame had become part of his daily life. He traveled, met scientists, and spoke before large audiences. But behind the public attention,
his fame kept growing, but his life was changing too. Work, travel, and family responsibilities now competed for his time.
His fame kept growing. Work, travel, and family life now competed for his time. The world knew the famous scientist. At home, he was simply part of a family. June 1924 brought a new scientific idea. A young physicist's work caught his attention. A new collaboration was beginning. In 1924, a new quantum idea reached him. He saw its importance and began developing it further. In January 1925, he pushed the new quantum idea further. His work predicted a strange new state of matter. In 1925, the idea led to a startling prediction. At extremely low temperatures, many particles could occupy the same quantum state. By 1926, quantum theory was changing rapidly. He admired its success, but he was not convinced it told the whole story.
The world knew him as a great scientist, but behind the fame was a person with hopes, questions, and a life beyond his discoveries.
Fame brought admiration, but it also brought pressure.
Behind the famous image was a person trying to balance science, public attention, and private life. In March 1929, he turned 50. Fame had changed his world, but time was changing him too. His fame had grown beyond science. Wherever he traveled, the public wanted to see him. The world around him was changing quickly. Political tensions were rising, and science could no longer remain separate from history. In 1932, his life was entering a turning point. He began thinking seriously about where he and his family could build a safer future. In January 1933, political changes made Europe increasingly dangerous. He left Germany with his family, not knowing that he would never return to his old life. In March 1933, he faced a difficult decision. The political situation in Germany had changed completely. He decided he could no longer return to his former home. In October 1933, he arrived in the United States. A new country offered him a new home, and his life entered another chapter. In 1934, he began building a new life in America. His work continued, but now his family and his new home became part of his future. His new life was becoming permanent. He continued his research while helping shape a new generation of scientists. News from Europe grew darker. He realized that the crisis was becoming impossible to ignore. My friends, the danger is real. By the end of 1936, his private life had changed deeply. He became quieter.
We are so glad you are here with us.
In 1937, he looked toward the future. His new life in America was becoming permanent, and his work continued. In 1938, the world was becoming more dangerous. News from Europe reached him every day, and he knew the crisis was growing. In 1939, the danger became impossible to ignore. He decided to warn the American government about a new threat from nuclear research. August 1939. A warning was prepared. He agreed that American leaders needed to know. They had to be told about the danger. September 1939. War had begun in Europe. The world he once knew was changing forever. By 1941, war had changed the role of science. He understood that new discoveries could affect the future of everyone. As the war continued, the power of science became clearer. So did its cost. By 1943, the war touched every part of daily life. Even in the university, science was living under its shadow. In 1945, the war ended in Europe. Peace returned, but science had entered a new and frightening age. August 1945 changed the world again. Nuclear weapons had demonstrated a terrifying power. He now feared what science could become.
After the war, he devoted more of his public voice to peace. He wanted science to serve humanity, not destroy it.
His own discoveries had changed science. Now, he cared about the people who would shape its future. At 70, his curiosity remained strong. He was still searching for answers. The years were catching up with him. But he continued working, and his ideas still occupied his mind.
Even in his final years, one question remained. Could nature's deepest forces be understood as one connected picture?
By 1953, his discoveries had become part of modern science. But his greatest legacy was the questions he taught generations to ask. In 1954, he continued speaking for peace. Age had slowed him, but his voice still carried beyond the university. April 1955. Near the end of his life, his thoughts were still turned toward humanity and peace. His journey was coming to an end, but his ideas would continue. On April 18, 1955,
his long journey came to an end. But the questions he left behind would continue inspiring generations.